In today's video, I have my latest dollar comic haul to share with you. We've got some Superman, we've got some Iron Man, we have some books featuring Peter David, rest in peace, a lot of great stuff, and I can't wait to dive in with you all. Hey guys, this is John, and you're watching Old Stuff is Cool. So, like I mentioned, we've got a dollar comic haul for you today, and it's from my favorite whatnot seller, Harvey Doss Comics. Besides the thrill of the claim, I was able to complete a bunch of runs that I've been working on, both from DC and Marvel. But before we jump in, if you guys want to help support the channel, please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. These are all quick and easy ways to help grow and support Old Stuff is Cool. Also, if you want to chat comic books and get some bonus content, you can also find me over on Instagram, also at Old Stuff is Cool. Okay, so we are on the tabletop view here, and we're going to kick things off with Fantastic Four versus the X-Men issue 2. This is the first time I'm getting part of this miniseries, 2 of 4 issues, and I think, And I think if I can find these other parts, and I think if I can find the other parts for $1, sure, why not? Another miniseries, kind of from a similar time I would want to get up is Avengers vs. X-Men. That'll be a good one. I don't think that will be necessarily in the dollar bin, dollar show, but you can always hope, right? Then we have Warlock Chronicles number 5. I'm trying to pick up this short series of, I want to say like 8 issues or something like that. It wasn't a very long series. It came out, this one in particular, tied in with Infinity Crusade. You can see from this little corner here. And that is, I guess in short, in Infinity War, they had to deal with the Magus, which is Adam Warlock's evil persona. And then in Infinity Crusade, they had to deal with his good side, his righteous side, called the Goddess. So, I think the Infinity Limited series, as much as I love them for nostalgia, they kind of got worse over time. It was probably cash grab, but hey, I still love me a good crossover. Marvel Comics presents number 102. And you can see we're kind of doing a bunch of one-offs. I try to cluster these together, and you can see we're kind of doing the one-offs I got from this batch of dollar comics. But issue 102, I'm picking up the issues with Wolverine and Nightcrawler with some great covers by Sam Keith. Super moody. Love that stuff. I think there might be like 7 or 8 parts to that storyline. Next up, I got a few of the late run Silver Surfer. And these were all newsstands, funny enough. Issue 135, we got Agatha Harkness there. Issue 137, bit of a good Halloween, Halloween themed one with a zombie-like Silver Surfer there. And then we have issue 139, and I haven't read these And while I haven't really read too many of the issues above issue 100 from the Silver Surfer series, I do know, so that's Alicia Masters on the cover. And I don't know what the heck was happening during continuity that she wasn't with Thing Ben Grimm. But over the many years, Alicia Masters has been tied to different love interests, and Silver Surfer is a pretty old school one. Alright, and continuing with the haul, we've got some Daredevil and Daredevil related titles. So here's issue 265. Some great John Romita Jr. art there. And you guys know I've been picking up Daredevil as I can. I used to have very few Daredevil floppy issues, and that's quickly grown in the last few months. Here's the last issue I need from Fall from Grace, issue 322. I think this, the giant cyborg head in the back is the character Siege, who is kind of related to Deathlock. I think he's like an anti-hero. I don't think he's a villain or anything like that. It's been a while since I read about him. Elektra number 1. This is from the all-new Marvel Now initiative. Just a cool cover. If you can't tell, the black lines here are provided by Ninja Bodies. So, really cool cover here. And then we have a chunk of Iron Man. And while I started getting Iron Man with the issues around Armor Wars. I really like this era. I feel like it's in the late 80s and into early 90s. So as they've popped up in dollar bins on dollar shows, I'll snag a few. This one is notable though. It's got some spine ticks and wear and tear, but Iron Man 200 features the death of Ironmonger, Obadiah Stane, who some of you might know from the first Iron Man movie, played by Jeff Bridges. Then we have issue 221, featuring the Ghost. The Ghost was just introduced, I believe, in issue 219. Iron Man 222. These are issues leading up to Armor Wars, so I kind of just wanted to plug in some of those gaps. Issue 224, got some classic Iron Man villains there. Whiplash, Blizzard, the Beetle. Not sure who this character is, but I will be reading these. So maybe I'll get back to you. And then speaking of Armor Wars, issue 230, which is the last part I need for our Armor Wars, the first Armor Wars. Really happy to wrap up this part, kind of what got me down the Iron Man rabbit hole, and now to read it in its entirety, it's going to be a good time. And then I love my Christmas themed covers, so Santa's shooting at Iron Man. Had to pick that up. Issue 254. And so next up, we've got some Captain America, although not as much as I've picked up in previous dollar shows. This is part of that Mark Gruenwald run I'm kind of picking up. I don't know if I'm getting it all sequentially, but at least from issues like 307 to 400, we're trying to cover those. So issue 314, we got some miniaturized heroes and villains duking it out on a typewriter. Issue 349 with Steve as the captain. Issue 391 featuring a great cover by Ron Lim, also part 5 of the Superior Stratagem story arc. There he is in the tank. Issue 397, we got the Scourge. That might be some new character as the Scourge there. Issue 401, After the Storm. Captain America looking pretty bummed there. Got some judgmental faces surrounding him. And that's it for the Cap, because I've got a bunch of Ghost Rider, and this is actually the rest of the Ghost Rider I need to complete issues 1 through 50 of the 90s series featuring Danny Ketch, Ghost Rider. Some awesome covers here. This one's by Mark Texeira. Issue number 7 with the villain, the Scarecrow. Issue number 8, that's Blackout we've got there. Issue number 9, Newsy, featuring X-Factor. I didn't know they crossed over here, actually, until I picked up the issue. Another crossover here with Doctor Strange, although when we're dealing with magic and things with the Demon Realm, makes sense. Doctor Strange is going to show up. Another fantastic cover here by Mark Texeira with the Hobgoblin, Johnny Blaze, issue 16. And this is one of the newer runs I've been working on, getting issues from the Peter David run on Incredible Hulk. It's a little scattered right now what I'm getting, but on one of the recent shows on Harvey Doss, a bunch of these popped up. I've read a few, even though I didn't have them all sequentially, and I really liked it, and kind of liked picking up. I don't know. I really like the Hulk, even though I don't have a lot of Hulk comics. I like the Hulk from like the 80s and 90s. So issue 355. A couple of these are a little more banged up, but they are primarily reader copies for me. Then with issue 360, got Nightmare and Despair. Issue 383, and I really like these Dale Keown covers. There's the Abomination there, trying to be a little stealthy with fedora and trench coat. I don't know if he's pulling that off. Issue 389 with the Man-Thing. Love the Man-Thing. Issue 391, this features a crossover with X-Factor, which worked out pretty well since Peter David was writing this both titles. Issue 392, still part of that crossover. It's called War and Pieces. Issue 396, I'm missing the issues between 392 and 396, have some great Punisher covers, but looking to fill those in at some point. 396. Issue 398, great cover featuring the leader. Issue 399. Not a Dale Keown cover, but I got this more from completion's sake because I have issue 400, which is a big, gimmicked out anniversary issue. And then issue 447, quite a jump because I wasn't really going to go after issues in the 400s, but I saw this cover, I think probably in like Wizard magazine or something long ago. I think this was a good jumping on point. Mike Deodato Jr. was handling art duties, and I really like his work, especially later when he's doing stuff like Dark Avengers and other titles. It got really, really dark and moody. And something about his art just really appeals to me, so I had to pick up issue 447 here. Does that mean I'll get other issues in the 400s if it has Deodato on art? Very likely. And in this haul, I got some great issues to add to my Marvel 2-in-1. Surprisingly, where usually I don't see issues under, issue 40 or so, I got issue 2 here. And in a recent haul, I picked up issue number 1. So that's kind of cool where I can get some of these earlier Marvel 2-in-1s on a dollar show, no less. Issue 32, featuring Invisible Girl and Spider-Woman. Oh, here's issue 43 with the Man-Thing and Cap. Issue number 47, featuring the Yancey Street Gang. Over here on where it says, the Thing, you can see a little stamp from what store sold this at some point. So kind of a little touch. This one, has seen better days. Got some watermarks and stuff too. Maybe upgrade that in the future, but I think for now, just trying to collect the run. Issue 48, featuring the Jack of Hearts. I have a soft spot for this character, as he was around when I was reading Silver Surfer in the 90s, and he's, often been interwoven with different comic stories, the Avengers and whatnot. Issue 56, Thing battles Thundra. Nice action cover there. Issue 68, featuring the Angel. They're fighting some knights in armor. And very cool cover here. Issue 99, featuring Rom. Rom is a series that it's not a high priority, but I would definitely want to read Rom's Marvel series. I've heard it's a good read. If you're a fan of Rom, let me know in the comments. And as we're winding down the haul here's some issues that really just stood out to me. They have some prominence for one reason or another. X-Factor 71 was the start of the Peter David run. It also features the art of Larry Stroman, which I had the pleasure of meeting very briefly at the Clam City Comic-Con. I wish I picked up some original art from him, but this is probably my first exposure to his work, and I did have a lot of this Peter David run, back in the day. But I think those were when I wanted to pare down my collection. I did kind of move on and sell off a lot of those. So I picked up this issue since he is also based, in the Boston area. I think I'm bound to run into him again at a local show, and I'd love to have him sign this. And for sure, I want to pick up some original art the next time I see him as well. So that's why I picked up issue 71. I may or may not pick up the other issues of this run, or maybe go after it in trade paperback format. And then Ultimate Spider-Man, I was down to 2 more issues to kind of complete my mini run between issues like 1 and 110. And I was missing issues number 2 and 7. So 7 popped up on the Dollar Show recently, featuring the Ultimate version of Green Goblin. Now I just need to hunt down a copy of number 2. Always happy to see these, pop up. These last few are DC selections, and I know I'm primarily a Marvel collector, but I'm trying to branch out as I was mentioned. And Superman, the movie by James Gunn, coming out very soon in July, has me keeping my eye out for some Superman issues, including this one, Superman, the Man of Steel, number 1. Funny enough, I read this one recently on digital format, and then the comic itself, the physical comic, came up on the show. So I quite enjoy this cover, so I decided to pick it up. And then my first exposure to the Superman comics was The Death of Superman. I think a lot of 90s kids, that's the case. So there's a ton of these cameo, quasi first appearances of Doomsday, but this cover in particular has always stuck out to me. There's some actually great covers in the lead up to the big fight with Doomsday. So here we have Adventures of Superman issue 497. You can start seeing some of that green suit tear away, some of his bone claws coming through. I also want to point out Tom Grummett. Really enjoy his pencils. He also drew Superboy, which I remember picking up a few issues of. The Superboy that would come out from the death of Superman, the Reign of the Superman storyline. So, and then we got The Flash, issue 164. This one's part of the Geoff Johns run I'm trying to complete. Now all I need is issue 165 to finally complete that run. And that's Brian Bullard with the cover here, and he had some great covers when Johns first started out. Green Lantern, issue 54, an early Kyle Rayner issue that has been a hole in my small 90s Green Lantern collection. I came in when Hal Jordan kind of went bonkers and started taking out fellow Green Lanterns. I'm blanking on the storyline right now. I'll put it in post here, but this is one. Unfortunately, I really enjoy Ron Mars because he also had a lengthy run on Silver Surfer, whom I love. But this is the issue where the whole term of fridging women came by when his girlfriend Alex was taken out by Major Force and forcibly shoved into Kyle Rayner's refrigerator. Really gruesome, especially, I feel like, well, I guess Green Lantern, given the Hal Jordan stuff, it was getting pretty bloody too. So, yeah, funny that was the issue that was missing amongst my Green Lantern 90s collection, but here it is. And last but not least, I was very happy to find this one. I love me some Batman, so issue 442 features the first time Tim Drake appears in the Robin costume. There's another key issue, further down the line of him getting his own version of the Robin costume, but the first time he puts on a Robin costume is right here. But really cool to find in a dollar haul. So those are the comics for this time around. Let's turn the camera back around and finish things up. All right, so that's the dollar comic haul for this time around. Like I said, I was able to complete a lot of the runs I've been after. Just being able to check off, Iron Man Armor Wars, the Geoff Johns Flash run, the Ron Mars Green Lantern. It's not a whole run, but collection of books. That all feels really good. I guess I am a run collector, and there's a special kind of wholeness that you feel when you complete a run. If any of you guys watching at home are run collectors, shout out in the comments, what you're after, what you recently completed. We can all share in that joy together. On the other hand, if you have no idea why people collect runs of comic books, either complete or partial, also sound off in the comments. But otherwise, that's going to do it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope to catch you in the next one. Take care.